Season 2 of Merlin begins not with peace, but with an omen, a warning that even in times of victory, darkness always waits to return. Camelot has grown prosperous. Arthur has become more confident as a leader, and Merlin continues his secret mission as protector, hiding his magic from a king who would execute him if he ever found out. But as the episode begins, something ancient begins to stir beneath the castle, something that has waited centuries to rise again. The episode opens in the heart of Camelot's lower city, where a group of thieves, led by a man named Cedric, has heard rumors of a hidden chamber buried deep beneath the castle. That chamber supposedly contains the treasures of a powerful sorcerer, Cornelius Sigan, a man whose name was once feared across the kingdom. Sigan was a master of dark magic, obsessed with immortality. Before his death, he swore that his spirit would live on, waiting for the right moment to rise again and reclaim what was his. Cedric, arrogant and cunning, decides to test fate. He sneaks into Camelot disguised as a traveler and begins to plot his way into the castle, where he can get close enough to discover the entrance to Sigan's tomb. Meanwhile, in the castle above, life seems normal. Arthur and Merlin's friendship continues to blossom, though their banter remains as sharp as ever. Arthur teases Merlin for his clumsiness, while Merlin mutters under his breath, often using a bit of magic to get back at him when no one's watching. Gwen tends to her duties and Morgana, still haunted by her dreams, grows uneasy. Though she hides it well, something inside her stirs whenever she senses dark magic near Camelot's walls. One morning, workers uncover a strange chamber during excavation beneath the castle. Inside, they find a massive sarcophagus sealed with runes, surrounded by ancient treasures, golden coins, weapons, relics. It is the tomb of Cornelius Sigan. Gaius warns Uther that such discoveries should not be disturbed. But Uther, ever stubborn and dismissive of superstition, orders the tomb to be opened and the treasures catalogued. And just like that, the curse begins to awaken. Cedric, seeing his opportunity, worms his way into Arthur's favor. He flatters the prince, claiming he wants to serve Camelot with loyalty and skill. Arthur, impressed by his charm and apparent bravery, begins to trust him. Merlin, however, immediately senses something wrong. Cedric's eyes, his manner, the way he slinks around the castle, something feels off. Soon, Cedric's manipulation begins to show. He steals Merlin's chores, flatters Arthur constantly, and paints Merlin as lazy and incompetent. Arthur, half joking but half serious, begins to take Cedric's side. For Merlin, it's infuriating, not because he's jealous of Cedric's favor, but because he knows something darker is at play. He can feel the magic radiating from the tomb below the castle. That night, Cedric sneaks into the lower chambers of Camelot, avoiding guards and torches. He finds the tomb of Cornelius Sigan, a chamber glowing with faint blue light and ancient symbols. As he opens the coffin, a strange energy fills the room. The spirit of Sigan, imprisoned for centuries, flows out like black smoke and enters Cedric's body. Cedric is no more. Cornelius Sigan lives again. From that moment, chaos begins to unfold. Strange things happen across Camelot. The castle's walls crack, torches flicker without wind, and whispers echo in the corridors. Morgana wakes from nightmares drenched in sweat. She doesn't understand why, but she knows something evil has returned. Merlin confronts Gaius about his fears, and Gaius tells him the legend of Sigan, how he once nearly destroyed Camelot with his dark powers, and how his spirit was trapped in his tomb. Merlin realizes that the presence he feels is not just magic, it's pure darkness. He knows he has to stop it before Camelot falls. As Sigan, now wearing Cedric's body, moves through the castle, he sets his plan in motion. His first act is revenge against Uther for outlawing magic and against Camelot for forgetting his name. He begins by bringing the castle's gargoyles to life, monstrous stone creatures that tear through guards and citizens alike. The once proud halls of Camelot become a battlefield of stone and fire. Arthur rallies his knights, but they are helpless against the enchanted beasts. Morgana and Gwen help civilians escape, while Merlin searches desperately for a way to fight back. He finally confronts Cedric, or rather the being that has taken him over. Sigan's voice is deep, ancient, echoing through the room. He mocks Merlin, calling him a child playing with powers he cannot control. In a shocking moment, Sigan realizes what no one else knows: Merlin has magic. "You are like me," he says. "You are one of us." But Merlin's strength lies not in power but in purpose. He refuses to join Sigan, declaring that magic without compassion is nothing but destruction. The two clash, magic against magic, in a storm of light and shadow. As the battle rages, the gargoyles tear through the castle above. Arthur fights valiantly, saving lives even as he faces certain death. He shows the courage and selflessness of a true king, qualities that Merlin silently admires. Down below, Merlin's struggle reaches its breaking point. He's losing. Sigan's power is overwhelming. In desperation, Merlin calls out to the one being who might help him, the great dragon. The dragon answers, reminding Merlin of the price of destiny. He gives him a single spell, one powerful enough to imprison Sigan once more. With all his strength, Merlin chants the incantation, forcing Sigan's soul out of Cedric's body and back into the crystal heart buried in his tomb. The spirit screams, the light flashes, and then silence. Cedric's lifeless body falls to the ground. The gargoyles crumble to dust. Camelot is saved. When dawn rises, the castle lies in ruins, but the people live. Arthur, exhausted, finds Merlin and thanks him for his bravery, though he has no idea how much Merlin truly did. Morgana and Gwen stand beside him, shaken but alive. Uther, as usual, claims victory and refuses to admit that magic had any part in the attack. But deep inside, Merlin knows this is only the beginning. The darkness is rising again in Camelot, and though he's defeated one evil, there will be many more to come. He's seen the truth in Sigan's eyes, that Merlin's destiny is tied to Arthur's not just by friendship, but by fate. For the first time, Merlin begins to understand what it truly means to be the protector of Camelot. Power alone will never be enough. He must be cunning, patient, and willing to risk everything, even himself, for the sake of the future. The episode ends with Merlin standing in the ruins of the tomb, gazing at the crystal that still glows faintly with Sigan's spirit. He whispers quietly, "I won't let it happen again." But the look in his eyes tells us, he knows that evil never truly dies. It only waits. The Curse of Cornelius Sigan is one of the most powerful season openers in Merlin. It redefines the tone of the series, darker, deeper, and more mature. It's not just a story about magic and monsters. It's about responsibility, trust, and the burden of destiny. Arthur begins to act more like a king, Morgana begins to drift toward her darker path, and Merlin faces the truth that every victory will come with sacrifice. It's the perfect beginning for a new chapter in Camelot's legend, a reminder that what lies beneath the surface of magic is always something far greater than any man can control.